What's up, everyone? Welcome to the very first ever edition of Dad Pod Live. Really just wanted to try out something new. We've been doing the podcast for a while now, and actually have missed the last few weeks. And so, rather than put out just another new podcast to say I'm back, I'd rather try a new forum. And so, YouTube is out there, tons of listeners and viewers, or what have you. But anyway, we're going live. And we're going to just try things out. And so I don't even know if anyone will even view this live, to be honest with you. We're going to post it later to the podcast. So you may be listening to this through the podcast, which is awesome. But whatever the case is, we're going to, like I said, we're going to do something a little different. First time ever on YouTube. So it's really a kind of a big deal. And so I've set up this makeshift studio. Now, eventually I'll get some better equipment. You can get it a little higher definition. But what I got behind me is a little loading screen, a video game called Contra. And so one thing I want to do with this live thing is from time to time put in different little loading screens with different retro games. And if you have any favorites, definitely hit me up. Definitely comment at some point. Let me know what video game loading screens you would like to see in the future. And so anyway, with that being said, a very special edition of Dad Pod today. And also, like I said, I don't know if anyone's tuning in on YouTube because the thing is, as of today, I had no subscribers. And then I put something out on my own personal Facebook and I got like 1 subscriber. So that's awesome. But that doesn't mean that 1 subscriber is going to tune in. I don't expect them to. And so it's kind of hard to like, where do you start with a YouTube channel? You got to just start putting out content, I guess. So at least this first episode, even if no one really does the live thing, maybe they will. Regardless, it's a good place to start. And so if you've never been a part of Dad Pod, we're a pod about nothing. And so that might seem like a little counterintuitive. A podcast about nothing. Like, how does that even happen? Well, first of all, it's based on the idea from Seinfeld, which is a show about nothing. Brilliant show, greatest show, in my opinion, of all time, as far as comedies go. I love Seinfeld, so we could talk all day about Seinfeld, but we're not here to do that. Anyway, if you're new to the podcast or the YouTube channel, it's a podcast about nothing. It's a pod about nothing, calling it Dad Pod. And believe it or not, it's hard to talk about nothing, for some people at least. For me, it's actually easy. I could talk, I could ramble on. I remember someone reminded me of this recently, but I once had a speech class. I think it was actually senior year communications class. We were supposed to give speeches, and 5 minutes tops, right? And I don't know what happened, but I got up there and started talking about Minority Report, the movie, which I was really into Tom Cruise in high school, but started talking about Minority Report, and 25 minutes later, the teacher was like, yeah, you need to go ahead and wrap it up. And so I don't think anyone enjoyed that speech, but it was memorable. My friend from high school, from like so many years ago, messaged me a couple weeks ago, and he's like, I remember something about a Minority Report speech. I'm like, yes, thank you. So I know that it was impactful, and I could talk about nothing, could ramble on. I make a great politician, actually, because I could talk about nothing for a whole career. Oh, dang. Okay, sorry. The one thing about this show, though, we do try to keep it positive. All right, I'm not here to make fun of anyone, but politicians, that's an easy one. All right. It's just one of those professions where no matter how well-intentioned some of them are, I guarantee you there are some great politicians that really are full of integrity, love their community. I'm sure there's those people out there, right? We know that. But we look at a lot of it and it's like, politician, when you hear that phrase, it automatically has a negative connotation. Whereas when you hear social worker, you think, man, it's a noble cause. And so it just shows we don't know if those people are noble or not. It's just our preconceived notions. But this isn't a philosophy or a sociology class. It's a YouTube and a podcast. So let's talk about things that are more interesting. Now, one thing about myself and about this podcast that you might find interesting, or at least it's unique to this podcast, is I'll come up with some random stuff. What do I mean by that? There's a show about nothing, but there's a lot of random as well. Stuff that I find funny, I'll throw it out here, and I figure, what's the harm if no one else feels it's funny? If I feel it's funny, I'm going to at least test it out here. And when I think of new things, I actually test them out in real life too, in real time. I'm talking with people. I drop this it's like, what's the deal with first aid? Like, what are you talking about? Well, yeah, we know about first aid. There's no second aid. Haha. Right. So that's not what I'm trying to get into tonight, but it's just stupid stuff like that I think of. By the way, tonight's episode, not officially, but we're sponsored tonight. Caffeine-free Diet Coke. That's right. I know there's a big glare, but it's caffeine-free Diet Coke. And so there's nothing really more dad than that. I don't know. There probably are things that are more dad, but think about, there's soda. You take it down a notch, make that diet. Then you take that down a notch, make that caffeine-free. So that's why I'm able to do this podcast late at night, is because I've got my trusty gold can caffeine-free Diet Coke. So one day I hope to be sponsored by Diet Coke, but until then, I'll just keep drinking it. So that's what that is. Anyway, I didn't lose my train of thought. What I was going to say is, my next thing that I thought about this week was actually inspired. My daughter, she's 2, and she was asking if she could listen to the ABC song on Spotify. The ABC song, A, B, C, D. We all know it. When you get to LMNOP, it's for them, especially a 2-year-old, and I have a 4-year-old son. It's a jumble. LMNOP kind of gets overlooked. It's kind of like HIJK henna P. Literally, that's what they say. It's kind of a mumble there, a jumble. But she was asking, Dad, I want ABC song. Like, cool. Let's put it on, throw it on Spotify in the car. And got me thinking, though. I felt bad for D. Just feel bad for D, because we always focus on ABC. It's not very inclusive of the other letters. So whatever reason, we refer to the alphabet as the ABCs. Even though we have a word for it called the alphabet, we refer to it as the ABCs, and we stop at C. So D is there like, the ABCs. Almost, man. You were right there. Why couldn't you just mention my name? And so D gets no royalty check. Same with E, same with F. D is like, what's going on? E is like, why can't I be a part of the ABC thing? And then F is like, what the? Just kidding. Like, F is like, what the heck, man? Why can't I be part of the ABC? So we just say, all right, children, it's time to learn your A, B, C, D, F, G's. Like, it takes too long to name them all. So along the way, we came up with a word called the alphabet. Then we replaced the alphabet with saying ABCs, but I don't think that's very friendly to the rest of those letters. Now, I guarantee you no one else on this planet probably cares about that, but I care, all right? And that's why I'm here. I'm a host that cares, all right? I have a heart, as we all do. Anyway, it's a crazy week, right? It's a unique week that went on here in our world, and this is not the show that will sit here and make political views. It's not the show that'll sit here and get serious too much. It's really not that place. There's other forums to do that, to be serious. It's very lighthearted. I'm not going to make light of this situation. What I'm saying, though, is this is not the episode to sit here and go through the whole coronavirus case by case and just pick out all the things that are happening in society that are weird. And I'm kind of landing in the spot, even after a few days of this. Number one, I want to say off the bat, it's obviously a serious thing. I don't want anyone else to get sick. Definitely don't want anyone to die of this illness. Don't want anyone to fear or panic or any of that as well. And so I'm hoping the best. So that being said, I'm trying to distance myself. I know we're supposed to social distance. We got the quarantines. We got the schools closed this week and all that. So I know, like, we're all dealing with it. But what was I was going to say something about it. Yeah, I guess I'm more on the thing, like, I'm kind of just ready. I'm not making light of it or whatever, but I'm like, I want to be done with it. Now, I know obviously everyone's like, well, yeah, I want to be done with it too. We want this whole thing to be over. Not so much the stuff going around about it, but just hearing about it. I just mean the day in and day out. I can't escape it. All right. Now, the ironic thing is we're all trying to escape it, right? We're doing what the governments and what our local authorities are saying, stay inside, don't go to the large gatherings, don't do it. We're trying to avoid it. but you can't avoid it. I'm trying to get off social media, actually, other than stuff for the show, of course. But no, it's like I open my Instagram, it's all coronavirus related. And it's some of it's really funny. Some of it's like really good. Like, oh, that's good memes. That's great. We're interacting. But then it's like at a certain point, I don't want to talk about that anymore. And go on my Twitter, definitely the same thing, right? And even more so on Twitter. And Facebook, I don't really personally use a lot. And so I'm trying to say, but I'm getting emails from all kinds of like Geico, my home mortgage, everything you can think of is emailing me. A lot of it the same information, which I'm grateful for that we're all on the same page. But anything, all I have to say, not taking it lightly. It's a very serious situation we got going on. We should definitely stay close in tune with the news and the latest updates and all that. It's not the point. What I'm saying is more, I just want to not pretend it's not happening, but I got to distance myself from the social media feed. I'm sorry. I got to look at other stuff. I'm using this week as a time to enjoy hanging out with my kids, which I always do, but I got to have a little more time this week to hang out with them. Now, I want to transition to this and say, since I don't want this to be all about coronavirus, even though we're taking it very seriously, as we said, but it's not a show about corona. It's a show about nothing, right? And it's a special show because it's the first one we're doing as a broadcast. It's also unique in this. And what I mean by that, the show started, if you don't know, you can go back to the very first episode on the podcast, which you might be listening on the podcast feed right now, or if you're on YouTube, if you go back to Pod About Nothing, the Dad Pod, if you will, on wherever you listen to podcasts. Anyway, listen to the first episode. I tell you the circumstances that started. What happened though, my wife, don't remember when that was. I think it was like close to a year ago. Could be wrong. Anyway, she went on a trip and she took the kids with her to visit her parents in Colorado. So I was left at home. I was doing some work, different things, couldn't go on the trip. And anyway, it was a totally different flow, right? So I was always with my family, wife, 2 kids every day, right? It's drop the kids off at school, go to work, pick the kids up from school, give the kids baths, give the kids fed, read them a bedtime story, take care of them, love them, and have fun and do all the things, right? There's a lot that goes into that. Then after that, spend time with my wife, hang out, perhaps watch a show, perhaps talk, perhaps go on a walk. Although we would do that with the kids. We wouldn't leave the kids at home for that. What am I getting at here? She left. So the total flow is totally different. I'm back to 19-year-old bachelor Josh hanging out. And you can listen to that first episode as a totally different set of circumstances where I was not quarantined. I could go out and do whatever. I had friends, I had guys and people that I would go hang out with throughout the week. But it was a long time. Even like at night, I'd come home in an empty house. Never happened. So I was like, you know what? Let's start a podcast. Let's do it. This is the time to try this whole podcasting thing out. And I tried it, and it was mildly successful. It's been mildly successful so far. It's gotten rave reviews from me, giving it rave reviews. No one else has reviewed it yet, really. But that's okay. I'm doing it for the love of the podcast, and I enjoy doing it. But it started under those circumstances. Empty house is quiet. Like, let's just give this a shot. I had so many random thoughts in my head. So many things that I found funny. I don't know if other people did. So I'm like, let's put it out there. People can listen, people cannot, whatever. So we did the podcast. Fast forward to this week, what's special or unique or whatever is that my wife, Hannah, she left a couple hours ago to go on a trip. And so now it's a little different. Now, before I was all alone. So it was like, whatever. There's only one in the house, got a little bit lonely. Now I have 2 kids with me. And so I'm looking out for them this week. It's going to be awesome. We're stocked up here. All right. We're good. Thank you for checking, but we're really good here. But I was looking forward to this week. I was ready. I had some ideas of things I might do with the kids to kind of, pass the time, but also like, let's have some fun. You guys are on spring break. Mom's out of town and we're going to make the most of this. Right. Then we get the curveball thrown our way. We got the social distancing, schools are closed and things like that. And so we got to be a little creative this week. And so, like I said, it's a different flow. What I'm trying to figure out this week is, and I know I'm not saying like, woe is me. I got to figure out, the local zoo is closed. What am I going to do? It's like, man, that's not, there are people that have actual problems. All right. And so I'm not saying that, but I'm thinking like, all right, I got to get creative here. When we went to Target, we bought some crafts, some art supplies, some stuff to do with the kids. I'm going to be doing some of that. Kinetic sand, paint brushes, crafting, puzzles. I don't want to have them. They could watch YouTube all day. I'm not going to do that. That's terrible, right? So we're trying to do other stuff. It's kind of cold still here where we're at. I'm not complaining. It's just like mid 30s to 40s. It's nice. It's sunny. Spring is on the rise, but whatever. Can't exactly, just chill outside in the backyard. But we'll do that as much as we can. But anyway, I'm kind of coming to you on this of whenever you hear this, do you have ideas? Like, what should I do this week? Not just for myself, but like with a 4-year-old and 2-year-old, maybe you have some insight on what I should do. And so I kind of want to, this episode's a little different. It is an episode about nothing. So there's not a whole lot to it. It's more, this is our first go at it. And I'll be honest, you might hear a noise. You might hear some ambient noise. It's because I got a really ghetto setup. Tonight I'm just streaming from a laptop, which is set on a mini fridge. It's all good because my mini fridge is stocked with Diet Coke, caffeine free. However, this isn't from that mini fridge. This is from earlier. But the mini fridge makes a noise whenever it goes into doing whatever it does. So that's what that is. But anyway, with that being said, I would love to hear a few things from you. Like I said, first of all, what are you doing this week? I'm sure your jobs, wherever you're at, whatever's going on, if you're in school, that's all changed a little bit this week. So let me know. Drop us a comment wherever you want to do that. Let me know, how has that been impacting for you? I'd also love to hear what you're doing, how you're passing the time, what you might be doing. And if you have ideas for me, I would love to hear that as well. So with that being said, it's a show about nothing. I don't have a lot more for you tonight. I'm going to be doing some stuff to improve the video quality in the coming weeks. We're going to just see what happens with this whole live thing. But as of now, I think I've still only got like 1 subscriber, and that's amazing. I also subscribe to it, so I think there's like 2 on YouTube, that is. But hey, I appreciate every listener. If you're listening on the podcast, if you're watching the video, wherever you're at, it is a show about nothing, but I'd love for it also to be a community-based show where if you have thoughts or ideas or things you want to discuss, or hey, if you want to come on the show, let me know. We can set up a live feed. We can patch you in. We can figure it out. So anyway, that's what I have for this week. Thanks for tuning in. I'd love to hear your thoughts, opinions, and ideas for the future as well. But have a great week. I know it's social distancing, but don't stay too distant. Let's stay connected this week. But anyway, we'll see y'all later. Peace out.